Attackers now use AI to fake people, devices, and behaviors at scale. In this topic, we flip the script. You'll see how AI can power smarter fraud detection, dynamic risk scoring, and content provenance to keep identity pipelines resilient and trustworthy from end to end. Modern identity threats now operate on two axes: realism and scale. At the low end of sophistication, we still see phishing and credential stuffing, now amplified by automation. At the high-scale end, coordinated bot networks hammer APIs and forms, simulating millions of users. As realism increases, generative AI powers convincing deepfakes and voice cloning for social engineering and KYC bypass. Beyond that, attackers build synthetic identities that blend real and fake data, then age them into trusted customers. Static, rule-based defenses can't keep up with this landscape. We need adaptive, intelligence-driven protection. Think of AI-powered identity defense as a continuous engine, not a one-time check. First, you gather fuel, rich signals from behavior, devices, and the user's lifecycle. Those signals flow into detection models, both supervised and unsupervised, that learn what normal looks like and spot anomalies. Their output is a real-time risk score, typically on a 0 to 100 scale. That score drives steering decisions: keep things frictionless, add a challenge, or block. Finally, a reality anchor ties events back to verified origin, using content provenance. Across all stages, governance, fairness, and explainability are non-negotiable. When you hear AI for fraud or identity, it usually comes down to two families of models that work together. Supervised learning is like a sorting machine. You feed it lots of past examples labeled as legitimate or fraudulent, and it learns patterns that predict how likely a new event is to be bad. It's excellent at catching known attack styles at scale. Unsupervised and semi-supervised learning act more like an anomaly radar. They learn what normal looks like, then surface odd clusters and outliers, including brand new attack patterns you've never labeled before. Modern identity systems don't just ask, "What's your password?" They watch patterns across three signal families. Behavioral dynamics cover how you act, when you log in, how you type, how you move through an app. Device and environment signals describe the hardware and network you're coming from. Identity lifecycle tracks how your account evolves over weeks and months. The real power comes from combining these and then correlating them across channels. That's how platforms spot a risky device or synthetic identity, even when every single data point looks normal in isolation. You can picture modern identity systems constantly recalculating a single risk dial from 0 to 100. Every interaction pushes that dial up or down. Downward pressure comes from long account history, consistent behavior, and many past good events. That earns the user more trust and fewer challenges. Upward pressure comes from anomalies: a strange device, impossible travel, or model signals that this looks off. Because the score is dynamic and updates in real time, it can drive adaptive decisions: let it through, add friction, or block and investigate. Adaptive controls turn static login rules into a real-time decision engine. Each interaction gets a risk score based on signals like device reputation, location, behavior, and history. Low scores get a streamlined experience: quick approvals, minimal friction. Medium risk doesn't mean no. It means prove a bit more through step-up authentication like MFA or extra checks. High scores trigger hard blocks. Account creation is paused, transactions are delayed, or a human reviews the case. The goal is simple: reserve friction for risky moments, while trusted users glide through. Provenance is about tracking a piece of content across its entire life. At capture, the device can embed secure metadata about when, where, and by whom something was created. During transformation, editing tools log every change and add cryptographic hashes, so hidden or unauthorized edits become detectable. At publication, platforms track uploads and reshares, linking back to that history. This chain of custody is what lets banks, governments, and platforms trust identity photos, KYC documents, and other high-stakes media in a world of generative deepfakes. To rebuild trust in media, we need two layers of authenticity signals working together. First, human-readable labels that quickly answer: was this AI-generated, AI-edited, or a verified real capture? These give everyday users an instant gut check before they share or rely on content. Second, machine-readable signals. Cryptographic watermarks and standardized content credentials like C2PA manifests. These travel with the file across platforms and tools, enabling automated checks, policy enforcement, and forensic audits. Strong identity for content comes from combining both layers, not choosing one. AI-enhanced identity has to run between three guardrails: fairness, explainability, and operations. Fairness means you don't just launch a model and hope. You routinely test outcomes by segment: age, region, income level, and fix patterns where some groups face more friction, false declines, or scrutiny. Explainability is about making machine decisions legible. A user should hear unusual device and new location instead of a cryptic error code, and staff should see clear reasons behind a risk score. Operational guardrails turn this into practice: documentation, version control, human review for high-impact decisions, and real appeal paths when systems get it wrong. Pulling it together, modern identity defense works as a loop rather than a checkpoint. You collect rich, multimodal signals and provenance data: how the user behaves, which device they use, where content came from. Those feed detection models that act like a sorting radar, turning raw signals into a 0 to 100 risk score. That score then shapes adaptive user journeys. Low risk flows through, medium risk gets step-up checks, high risk is blocked or escalated. Underneath it all, governance, fairness, and continuous retraining keep the system accountable and resilient over time. Rebuilding digital trust in the AI era means treating identity as a living system, not a static login screen. Move toward continuous verification using rich signals, and pair multiple AI models so each watches the other's blind spots. Tune friction to risk, not to everyone equally. Anchor content in verifiable provenance, and insist on explainable governance, so powerful identity tools stay accountable and human-centered.